Hi everybody, welcome back to those who've been hanging with me some time, and welcome to those who are new to my channel. I'm Adele Levine, intuitive and medium. So first off, I want to thank for all of the great support and outpour that I've gotten on my Adele Levine spiritual protection and lift kit. And those of you who came out to the class on Saturday, which was a crazy day that we did this class on how to trust your intuition. Just a couple announcements. This Friday night, I'm having Raise Your Vibration, Raise Your Vibes circle. So what that means is I'll take you on a journey and we'll listen to music and we'll move our bodies. And I'm going to show you how to push and pull energy, how to cleanse and kind of pull your energy up with just the energy source. And also I'm still offering 50% off of readings during this pandemic and everything. All right, let's get started. Okay. So I wanted to get into the subject at hand, and the subject at hand is a sensitive one, and I've been asked to do this one a few times. And the way people wanted me to talk about this subject wasn't the way I felt comfortable, because I do believe in staying in your lane. I'm a spiritual person. I believe I'm a spiritual guide, meaning like I'm just trying to guide what I've learned, hand you keys to things that I've come to understand and let you unlock those doors and go fly and do your thing. As a seer, I feel like I'm guiding people and things like that in your life and what I can see in the path. And as a medium, of course, talking to those people who've passed on. I am not a mental wellness expert. So when people have asked me about spirituality and mental wellness, I always want to come very, very correct and clear that I am a spiritual person. So I would never dare to tell someone, if you do these spiritual steps, it's going to change things in this mental wellness of people who are struggling with really some serious things. So what I am going to talk about is what happens a lot in the spiritual world. And I've gotten some DMs and emails on this as well, that oftentimes spirituality is looked as a way out or a way to correct things that are going on within ourselves mentally and emotionally. And the thing is that mental wellness, to me, what's really important to understand is that we are this human side, and I'm a believer in medical science. I believe in the psychology and all of these things in therapy, and I believe all these things are wonderful. There's even spiritual therapy, I think what's called. Spiritual psychology, sorry. And there's people who have, psychology degrees that want to learn the spiritual side and all of that. But I do believe that these two worlds are supposed to be friends and work together, and not used as, okay, now that you're in a spiritual path, that it's going to solve all of these things. There's a trueness to chemical imbalance and things that go on inside our physical makeup. So I do want to talk about that, because I want to talk about how oftentimes I've seen people misguided and told to do, A through C, spiritual steps and cleansings and this, and it's going to solve all those things. I believe spirituality is supposed to be a tool that you can add to other things you're doing for your mental wellness. So in other words, if you're in therapy, if you're in psychotherapy, if you're seeing a psychiatrist, even if you are just feeling like you're getting some kind of counseling, or maybe you're not doing any of those things and you have other things that you're doing through medical advice, these are all good things to be open to and to invite into your life. However, if you're interested in a spiritual path and learning about things spiritually, then it should be an attitude. So if you're meditating, if you're, getting into things that you feel is kind of in the craft world, meaning people who are kind of attracted to witchcraft and things like this. And then there's people who are really attracted to, positive thinking and all kinds of things. If whatever you're choosing to do to help you, and especially during these very difficult times, which is why I want to do this video, because I do believe this has become kind of popular question because of these times, for one. And for two, people are getting very drawn to the spiritual aspect of things as they're feeling very worn down through everything that's going on in our world today. And I absolutely believe all these things, crystals and incense and meditation and whatever you're doing that is helping you lift your energy and raise your vibration and cleanse off of you and kind of get things to feel more balanced in a spiritual way in your spirit is absolutely important, but it should never be told to you. I would be very leery of someone saying, if you do all these things, it will solve all of these other things you're going through. It should be working with. So you should be open to embracing, the understanding of psychology. And I come from a family where psychology is actually very prominent, professionals and things. I definitely don't believe these are two things that should be separated. And I would be it makes me concerned when I've seen people using what they believe is helping them spiritually. Maybe that's working for you and mentally, and telling other people if they do these things, this will take away all these other things. I feel that people get feelings of feeling down and beyond, and people have depression and people have real true things that they're battling inside of themselves. And we are in a physical body. We are physically in this avatar, flesh and bone body. And because we're in this physical body, there are chemical, makeups to who we are. Yeah, that's the word. And also our spiritual side, our spirit is, to me, is what's kind of like fueling and kind of charging up and animating this physical self, giving us the feeling of what we feel in our heart and what we feel emotional. And although there's psychological aspects to that as well. So that's why I think it's important that when you have something you're battling and something you're going through, that you kind of understand the physical body and what's going on with you, whether it's a chemical imbalance, whether it's even just something you're eating, the way you're living your life and how it's affecting you physically and things being off. And also with our spirit side. So with our spirit side, that can be not, aligned as well. But the two shall meet. And I feel that's really important because I've seen people kind of sell the fact that maybe one can just diminish. It happens the same thing with physical healing and things. And since spirituality is kind of a healing of a sort, or is an assistant to healing the spirit and is trying to help you, it should be looked at as a tool. It should be added to other things. Now, I will say this, that for a long time, in our world, the medical science and everything scientific is definitely well respected and definitely well honored. And I agree with that. But I think that there's parts of us we don't understand, meaning like there is a science we may not understand, like meaning maybe there is a spirit in us that does have an energy, and maybe that energy does affect other parts of us emotionally and therefore. And so maybe we just don't know everything, but it doesn't mean we just go, okay, for sure, yeah, this person knows nothing of what they speak. We can just say, oh, this person understands science and medical science, and that's so interesting, but maybe I want to add some other things into my pot. I always see it as like a pot. Like you want to take what works for you and remove what doesn't as you're exploring all of these things of you're trying to achieve mental wellness and spiritual wellness. So I feel that it has to be uniquely formula for you. So what I'm saying is what works for one does not work for all. So someone might have found a lot of help in maybe a self-help book or other things like this, and someone else is like, that just didn't work for me at all. And you got to be okay with knowing who you are mentally and knowing who you are spiritually and knowing who you are physically and really truly understanding that. Seriously though, wanted to go into that part of it, that when you are looking for ways to heal these parts of yourself, and I know it's a struggle for a lot of people, that you feel okay with acknowledging both, meaning maybe you're doing all these things that you feel like is helping your emotions, and you're going through things that are helping you figure things out psychologically, and maybe you are even having to go to psychiatrists and they help with other ways to create balance. And maybe you're going, okay, that's all great, but I want to add to that something else, something a little more in depth, something more to my spiritual beliefs. And I will say to you that you are not alone. Most people are honoring. It doesn't mean you're not being spiritual enough. It doesn't mean because maybe you're struggling with some other things inside that you're not doing something right. It means you are being human, and you're being a part of this world, and you're being part of this world in every kind of way. And it's totally okay. So take those two sides of you, your human side that we have to acknowledge that is what we are in this physical world, and the spirit side, and say, maybe I just want to incorporate both into my life so I can have the balance and help all aspects. And maybe that is something more and more as we progress, that more and more people, because I have seen a big surge in medical science and in science, and people who are interested in, maybe there's more to us that we know, and maybe there's more we can learn as other things are coming into play to help us through certain parts of our life, physically healing even, and mental wellness. And of course, I want to acknowledge that if you're struggling, I've put in the description a hotline that you can go to if you're feeling this way. And you look at that, and I'll even put it up here, that to remember if there's anyone you know who is feeling this way and feeling in that dark place and may not be finding their way out, please utilize. They even have, I believe, a chat online. And that's why it's important to me as a medium for me to say, I never want to glorify the spiritual world as a way to not acknowledge what we're going through here. I want people to be able to have what I'm teaching and what I learned from that realm to help be tools in this one, in this world, because we're here to experience this world, as hard as it may be and as up and down it may be. That's why we're here. So I hope that helped. I hope that made sense. I hope that helped anybody out there. Thank you guys so much. Follow yourself, follow no one, listen to your inner voice, and I'll see you soon.